Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're unpacking a truly profound and actually quite beautiful metaphor for life. We're looking at a pastor's 12-year reflection that takes something we see literally every day and uses it to break down personal growth, community, and finding our true value. What is it? It's wheat. And I know that sounds simple, but this isn't just a religious takeaway. It's a deeply practical masterclass in how to live. So let's explore this spirit of the week.
To really wrap our heads around this spirit, we have to start with a famous paradox from John 12:24. It says, "Unless a grain of wheat falls to the earth and dies, it remains alone." It's an incredibly powerful thought, right? A seed has to humbly die to itself, meaning it has to completely let go of its independent, self-protective little shell and surrender to the soil, because only then can it sprout, grow, and multiply. It's essentially the ultimate blueprint for shrinking the ego to magnify your impact.
And look, this isn't just some abstract philosophy sitting in a dusty book. This specific insight carries the weight of 12 real, lived years. Over a dozen years, this pastor mentored countless college students navigating life away from home. He actually watched them transform from green, inexperienced kids into successful professionals. So, that 12 years of firsthand observation, that gives this ancient wheat metaphor some serious modern-day gravity. This is a growth trajectory happening all around us every single day.
Let's move to the first phase of this journey and see how this all builds. Step 1 is integration, which is all about accepting the soil.
Now, integration is absolutely crucial. It's the foundation. A seed could literally have the best genetics in the world, but if it doesn't find soil willing to accept it, or if it outright refuses to integrate, it just stays isolated. It's kind of like the famous parable of the sower. If you're a seed that refuses to blend in and you just sit on the hard roadside, well, the birds are going to eat you. If you land in shallow dirt, the sun scorches you because you don't have any roots. It's exactly like joining a new workplace and quitting after 2 weeks because you just couldn't adapt. But when a seed fully embraces the good soil, the mud, the rain, the earthworms, the whole shebang, that is when it finally absorbs real nutrients.
Which leads us to the next point, refusing to be a proud seed. Why do we so often fail to integrate? Well, usually it's because we're acting just like an arrogant seed. We see this kind of friction in the workplace constantly. A boss thinks a subordinate is totally incompetent, while the subordinate is convinced the boss is a complete tyrant. You know the drill. It's not just a personality clash, it's a fundamental clash of perspectives. When you operate with this top-down, arrogant mindset, basically convincing yourself that the soil around you is beneath you, you become that proud seed. And a proud seed will never, ever truly blend into its community.
Take this completely real, kind of hilarious example from the pastor's notes. A group of intern teachers arrived at a school and almost immediately started complaining. They were saying the young students were totally impossible to manage, they just wouldn't listen. So the pastor gave them some real street-smart advice, basically leaning on the old idiom that even a mighty dragon can't crush the local snake. Just think about it. These interns had been there for 3 months? Those kids have been running the halls of that school for 5 years. If you walk into that dynamic with a proud, I am the teacher, you are the student attitude, of course you're going to face a massive wall of resistance.
So how in the world do you break the ice? The advice he gave was actually super simple. Drop the ego. Instead of just criticizing the kids for wasting all their time on video games, go up to them, be humble, and ask, hey, what exactly is Pokemon? And you know what happens? When a teacher steps down from their pedestal and shows some genuine curiosity about the student's world, the kids think, wow, okay, this adult is different. They actually open up. It's the perfect example of breaking your pride so you can finally integrate into the soil.
Once we're finally in the soil, we move right along to step 2, exerting your life's value.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens next. Once a seed is planted, it has to stop wishing it was in someone else's garden and just start embracing its own unique, God-given traits. The explainer gives us 3 distinct examples of this. First, we tend to envy the kids of billionaires, right? But the reality is many of them are sent abroad completely alone, constantly micromanaged, and face just massive unseen pressure. Second, think about the choice between an academic high school and a vocational path. They hold completely equal value. If you find joy in your work and balance in your life, that is your true worth. And third, aligning your career with your actual conscience. Imagine someone studies law but realizes they absolutely hate defending people they know are guilty. So they pivot that brilliant logical mind into a business career instead. The core message here is all about recognizing your specific traits and just blooming exactly where you are planted.
Which brings us to the final phase, step 3, recognizing that everything has its exclusive role. As you grow and start bearing fruit in any community, your presence is naturally going to create expectations. You basically take on a responsibility that is exclusively yours. To really drive this home, let me ask you a quick, kind of fun question. Take a couple of seconds to think about this. What do you think is the single most popular, eagerly anticipated vehicle in all of Taiwan? Like the one vehicle people will literally line up and wait for.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the answer. It's the garbage truck. No way, right? But think about it. We spend so much time idolizing these sleek luxury sports cars. But if you call a cab, you're the one waiting for it. But when the garbage truck starts playing its music down the street, everyone is standing outside, bags in hand, just obediently waiting for it. Why is that? Well, because if the power goes out for a day, you can survive. But if the garbage truck doesn't show up for a week, your house is a literal disaster area. It might not be glamorous, and it for sure doesn't smell great, but it serves a profoundly essential everyday need. It just proves that every single role, no matter how incredibly ordinary it might seem on the surface, carries this irreplaceable value.
So the crucial point is, how do we actually live out this spirit of the wheat? It really boils down to 3 core steps. Number 1, integrate and accept the soil. You've got to drop the pride and humbly root yourself right in your current environment. Number 2, exert your influence. Stop looking over the fence at everyone else's garden and fiercely grow your own unique value. And number 3, play your exclusive role. Fully understand that just like that musical garbage truck, your community is relying on your specific contributions, no matter how small or unglamorous they might seem.
Ultimately, when we make the choice to live with this kind of humility, when we willingly integrate and sacrifice just a little bit of our own ego for the greater good of our community, we become what this reflection beautifully calls children of light. And honestly, that is a massive challenge for all of us today. In a society that is just totally obsessed with fame and applause, are you willing to take a step back? Are you ready to truly serve and nourish the soil right beneath your own feet? Food for thought. Thanks so much for joining us for today's Explainer, and we will see you next time.